Hey everybody. In 2002, there was a 23-year-old man named Casey Weatherington. He lived in Kentucky and he sort of grew up in a very middle class, normal environment, and he died of a heroin overdose. His parents spent years and years and years trying to uh, get him to go into treatment to try to get him off of drugs. And because he eventually became an adult, 18 years old, um, they couldn't force him to go into treatment. So years went on, and he eventually died of a drug overdose. Um, After that happened, his mother, Charlotte, sort of wanted to switch her focus in life on trying to figure out how to get people who were impeded by the addiction of drugs, how to get them into treatment. So in 2004, Kentucky passed a piece of legislation called the Casey Law. And Casey's Law is something called involuntary commitment, and sometimes called civil commitment. And what this does is it allows a parent or a friend or a loved one to petition to a court and force someone into going into drug treatment without any legal ramifications, without getting in trouble with the law and going to prison. It essentially says this person can no longer make correct decisions because of their drug abuse, and they now we want to force them into drug treatment, into a substance use disorder program. In 2012, Ohio adopted Casey's Law, and shortly after, all over the country, as years went on, over 35 U.S. states, including the District of Columbia, adopted similar involuntary commitment laws. The main purpose of Casey's Law is really to sort of strike a balance between protecting individuals' struggles with substance use disorder and ensuring that they receive the necessary treatment, even if they are initially unwilling to seek help. The laws can be really, really controversial, and they can raise issues like ethical, civil liberty, and it can be a really complex situation for people to get involved in with regard to involuntary commitment, infringing on an individual's civil liberty, self-determination, and self-governance of what they decide to do with themselves, their body, and the decisions that they make. Advocates of involuntary commitment often talk about how addiction leads to a denial or a distortion of thinking and making it difficult for individuals to make rational decisions. The National Association for Social Workers Code of Ethics actually only has one code that pertains to involuntary commitment. The code is Standard 1.03 Part D. In instances when clients are receiving services involuntarily, social workers should provide information about the nature and the extent of services and about the extent of the client's right to refusal. So that's a very conflicting code. In one sense, you have a law that is saying this person must go into drug treatment. He is mandated by a judge to be there, and he or she is required to partake in the treatments. Social workers are binded by law to fulfill these actions, meaning they have to assess them and they have to treat them. So, how social workers engage with someone who is in treatment involuntarily can be really, really complex. My question to the class is that if you can imagine that one of your family members is addicted to drugs, at what point in their addiction, meaning what actions or what circumstances, would drive you to have them involuntarily committed, forcing them into drug rehabilitation, into a treatment center? At what point, what actions, what would you do um, to help them? And I just want you to listen to what Casey's mom um, has to say about her son's death.
I thought as his mom, I would be able to get help for him, get treatment for him, as I had all of his life whenever he was sick. That was not to be the case. What I encountered was one obstacle after another, and the biggest obstacle was that he was over the age of 18. And everyone said that he had the right to choose, that we as his parents were trying to take his right away from him.